Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining. I can see some people joining as we start. My name is Marlene, and I am the chair for the PSF Diversity and Inclusion Work Group. I have with me other members of the work group, and yeah, we're just very excited to have you join us from around the world. Maybe I'll just do a quick round of introductions for everyone that's currently on the call. Just to introduce themselves and let you know where they're from as well. So let's start with Manny.
Hello everyone, my name is Manny Young. I'm actively from the Python community over here in Ghana, West Africa, and I'm really excited to be here with you all.
Awesome. Teresa?
Hi everyone, I'm Teresa. I live in Hamburg. I'm from Romania, and I am with the European Python community. Happy to be here.
Georgie?
Hi everyone, I'm Georgie. I'm living in Amsterdam right now, but previously I've been helping quite a bit in Thailand and also in PyCon APAC.
Chuck?
Hello, I'm Chuck. I live in UK, London, and I've just been told that I am a frequent traveler of PyCon, and also in the past I've helped organize EuroPython and yeah, some other events.
Ruben.
Hi, I'm Ruben. I'm from Israel, and yeah, anyway, you'll hear more from me later, but nice to see everyone here.
Iqbal?
Hello, folks. My name is Iqbal, currently living in Tokyo. I'm associated with the Python community, especially in Japan, in Malaysia, and across Southeast Asia, East Asia. Nice to meet all of you online tonight.
Great. Saya?
Hey everyone, hope you can hear me. I'm from India and happy to have you all joining us from various time zones. Hope you have a great interactive session, and feel free to post your questions either in the chat or there will be a tiny Q&A tab. We will be monitoring it and taking it at the end of the session, so stay tuned.
Great. Deborah?
Hi everyone, I'm Deborah. I'm from Brazil, and I am part of the Latin American Python community, and it's a pleasure to be here with you all.
Awesome. Thanks everyone, and feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat too. We'd love to know where you're also watching from. I saw a couple of people from in the chat as well, so it would just be cool to know where you're from.
Yeah, we can see here there's people from Ireland. Hi Vicky, and there is like who else? Hugo from Helsinki.
Yeah, so definitely just go ahead and let us know where you're calling in from. I'm going to go ahead and start by just sharing a bit more. Georgie, can I go ahead and share my screen?
Sure.
Okay, so today we are just going to be having a friendly chat with our group. I just want to start by sharing a little bit more about what the PSF Diversity and Inclusion Work Group is, and also going to be sharing what the goal of this friendly chat is going to be and why we decided to have it. So the PSF, for anyone that isn't aware of this, but the PSF's mission or the goal of the PSF is to support and facilitate the growth of a diverse and international community of Python programmers, and also, of course, the Python language itself. But a big part of our working group's mission is that we want to support the PSF in furthering and making sure that they're able to make the community grow as fast as possible and be as diverse and inclusive as possible for people around the world. For anyone that doesn't know, Python is actually being used everywhere around the world. So on every continent, on the planet. Python is being used by someone. And the goal of our work group actually as well is to, so one of the things that we want to do as well is we want to be representative of the global Python community. And part of that is having a diverse group of work group members. So we have work group members actually coming from every continent in the world with the exception of Antarctica. I'm always saying we would love to have someone. If someone knows someone from Antarctica, please reach out. We know they had a meetup, but have not yet been able to get a hold of someone. But we try to be as representative as possible so that we can also discuss policy initiatives that the PSF is working on, so that we can also be able to make recommendations for them and give insights based off of our own communities or the communities that we're representing in the group. We also want to be able to communicate and collect feedback based off of what we hear from the global Python community, from people around the world, and share that with the PSF so that the PSF can help to support people in various places. And finally, we also want to make sure that we are measuring and evaluating statistics about different metrics around demographics in the Python community so that we are hopefully making progress in helping the community be as diverse as possible. And then specifically for this community chat, we wanted to be able to create a space to share community updates from around the world with the Python community. We also wanted to share, like I mentioned before, demographic information for people to be aware of some of the changing demographics of the community. We also want to give some call to actions about how to get involved in the Python community, how to make sure that if you want to volunteer or if you want to start a meetup, you know the right places to do that. And we will also be having updates from the different continents. A person will be sharing about the different things there. And of course, we'll be having some members from the Python Software Foundation Board of Directors and also the PSF staff joining us today as well. So to get us started in our call, we're actually going to start by having Deb, who is the Executive Director for the PSF, and Phyllis as well, who's Head of Finance for the PSF, to come and talk a bit to us about PyCon US and the things that are happening with the PSF in North America. So I'm just going to invite the two of them to join on the call now.
I can probably unmute. Hi, thanks so much for having us this morning. I'm going to go ahead and talk as if I have been added to the thing because I didn't want to open two tabs and hear myself in both ears. But my name is Deb Nicholson. I'm the Executive Director at the Python Software Foundation. I've been here since about April, so some of you might have been like, hey, I met the Executive Director a few years ago, and this doesn't look like her at all. That's because I'm new. So I'll just say a little bit about what the PSF is. I'm up for any kind of questions, and the door is always open for suggestions on how we could do better on the mission that Marlena talked about, as far as like making sure that we're growing a global community and bringing people in from everywhere. And that means different things in different places, of course. The PSF is a US-based charitable nonprofit, and we act as a vendor-neutral home for the Python programming language. And that's a little different than some other technical like programming languages or other tools and things that people use or run. Like a lot of different tech that you might use is owned by a company. And that means that if you want to contribute to that software, you have to work at that company. Python is completely different. We're open source. We allow anyone to contribute, and that's part of what makes it really a strong language that anyone can use. So the PSF itself makes sure that we provide support and infrastructure for the programming language. So we run make sure that all of the accounts and all of the cloud stuff that make sure that you can get like thousands and thousands of Python libraries at any time in the middle of the night are all up and running. But more importantly, we make sure that from a policy perspective that anyone can continue to use and suggest changes and contribute to Python. And that's absolutely critical for the accessibility and the growth and the dynamism, I would say, of Python. We also pay a couple of excellent people to work on Python. So we in August 2021, we hired Lukasz Lunga, our first Python developer in residence, and he works full-time on CPython and works to help and amplify the impact of volunteer contributors. And then we also brought on Shamika Mohanan as the Python packaging project manager in August 2021. And she's been working with the packaging community to see like where we could help them improve, where we might invest in infrastructure and processes to make the packaging community and their work more smooth and better and like always continually improving. Another thing that we do at the PSF is we support a number of smaller organizations as their fiscal sponsors. So in the US, if you're a charitable nonprofit, you can do certain things, you're eligible for certain benefits. It means that you're able to do activities in a way that a for-profit company is not able to. And so we act as an umbrella for smaller organizations that aren't ready to have their own nonprofit designation, and we help them with banking and administration. And Phyllis is smiling because this is her wheelhouse. We also help them with budgets and codes of conduct and other kinds of templates. Like, so, we've been around for a long time, and so we're able to help smaller organizations sort out some of the things that they need to know. And then finally, what you might be most aware of is we put on PyCon US, which is the largest PyCon in the world. Our staff works for most of the year to get ready. And in fact, we set the location for PyCon US 4 or 5 years in advance. While PyCon is the largest, US is the largest PyCon in the world, it's not the largest conference in the world. So we, we move around a little bit, and that means that we have to be kind of flexible. So we book that like way out. And then we support all the different chairs and committees and building out the program. So we've got someone who helps look out for the tutorials and looks at all those proposals. Naomi Cedar a few years back piloted the Charlas program, which is our Spanish language track at PyCon. And we have we're right in the middle of it because this year's PyCon US is in April, so it's coming right up. Some of the other things that we do, especially because it is the largest Python conference in the world, we work really hard to bring as many people there as we possibly can. And Phyllis is going to talk a little bit about our travel grant program in a little bit. And I think she's probably also going to talk a little bit about our more general grants program. So that's sort of like the 10-cent tour, I guess. So I'm happy to take questions. Phyllis is going to talk to you a little bit more about how you can get money from the PSF for doing awesome Python stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Deb. Hi, I'm Phyllis Dobbs. I'm from the PSF, and I've been there since about 2017. I'm currently sitting in the Chicago area, but some of you will see me in Salt Lake City if you're coming to PyCon. So we just sent out our travel grants for PyCon, as Deb mentioned. That's one of the things the PSF helps support. We gave out grants to 39 countries, actually went a little over budget and gave out over $300,000. We couldn't fund all the applications that came in. We had almost $800,000 in applications, and that's over our budget, but we keep working each year to increase that money because as an accountant, my job is both to make sure the PSF stays strong and healthy for the future so we can do all those things that Deb said, but then also I want to give our money away. And so that the travel grants is one of those ways. It's really one of the most fun parts of my job. Another area that we like to give away money is through grants to worldwide Python events, projects, could be PyLadies groups. There's a lot of things that we support as long as it's Python. And so last year we gave away over $200,000. And we had, before the pandemic, we were giving out more in the $300,000 to $350,000 range. Again, with the pandemic, many events stopped and folks didn't need as much funding, but we would like folks to apply. And you can do that on our website. And and we would love to hear from folks. That's what we're here to do. And then you'll also some of my staff you'll hear from, like Laura Graves or Joe Carey. Like we also help support all those things. So I'm happy to take questions in the channel about the grants program.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Phyllis and Deb. We have a Q&A link, and we will take question and answer like at the end of the session.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'm there. So but also if people have questions like later, like, or they didn't want to ask them in the big chat, or you wake up tomorrow and you're like, I know what my question is, you can always email me, deb@python.org. Whether it's like a small thing, like I think the travel grants should, open a little earlier, a little later, or it's a giant thing, like, I think that you should have an office where I live. Like, why not? We could talk about it. So.
Definitely. And I will share, thank you, Phyllis. Phyllis has shared both of their email addresses in the chat. So you can go ahead and email there. If you need a grant for like a meetup that you'd like to organize or something like that, please go ahead and apply at the link. I've put a link as well in the chat. And I will, before the end of this, share just a blog post that the PSF, I think Deb wrote it, that has like different links for where you can get in touch and get information about the different programs that were mentioned. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. And we will have time for Q&A. If you have some questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A or in the chat as well. Bye. Next, we are going to have Deborah joining us as well. Deborah is part of she is a board member for the Python Software Foundation, and she's also part of the PSF Diversity and Inclusion Work Group. And so Deborah is just going to share a few stories about the South American Python community.
I hope you can all see me okay and hear me okay right now. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever you are around the globe. And as Marlene said, I'm Deborah. As I introduced myself, I'm part of the Latin America Python community. I am one of PyLadies Brazil co-founders and currently part of the board of directors from the PSF. And it's really amazing to be able to be here and to be able to be in a place like the board. And I won't go into that because there is a whole session about the board, but I'm going to talk a little bit about our communities here and how it feels like to be able to be on the board. And I'll tell you a little story about my involvement with the communities here in Brazil, in South America in general. Well, it started out for me with PyLadies Brazil being created, wow, almost 10 years ago, actually. And we had our first event in 2014, and I am one of the co-founders of the people who started to run events, and PyLadies Brazil now is a full network of PyLadies chapters all around our country. That are more than 30 chapters, PyLadies chapters here in Brazil. And it's amazing how the network is connected in all regions of the country. And we have this whole network of chapters. And this goes not only here in Brazil, but also in different other countries from South America. So we have chapters from local cities. We have chapters that are the whole country. And it's amazing to see how the people in the Python community, they foster and they make a comfortable room for people to run events and to truly impact the life of many people in our countries, in our cities, in our continent. So we have some events that are going to happen this year, some big events, for example, as PyCon Latam, that is going to be in August. Python Brazil that is going to happen in October. And why am I bringing up these events? Because these are kind of events that all of the South American community needs. So in PyCon Latam, people are working to have talks in Portuguese. Here in Python Brazil, for the past 2 years, we had talks not only in Portuguese, which is our mother tongue here in Brazil, but also in Spanish. Having this international track is a very cool way to have the community that it's pretty much our neighbors, you know, but that didn't happen before, which is really cool to see how the community engages and how the community gets together. And this is, I believe, also one of the reasons why I actually got to the board. So I've been doing PyLadies work for several years now, and I was not able to actually see a person that could represent me. And when I say represent me, I mean in many different ways, like locally, especially locally. But when I applied to run for the board, I wasn't really expecting to get in. There are candidates from all over the globe. But when people read your statements and they see the work that you do, they trust you, because everything that we do it for the Python community. So there is a goal that we want to reach, which is to spread the word about Python, about PyLadies, about outreach, and about everything that we have within the Python community. And all that came to me because someone else was doing that. So all these things, they are totally life-changing, which is something that makes me, you know, like foster the local communities, the national communities, the world communities. And this is something that comes from a place that it's open, and that everyone that wants to do it is able to join us. You know, we know that not everyone has time available to do that, but if you are here from South America, especially from Brazil, from any other countries from South America, feel free to reach out. There are many cool things happening, like the Python en Español Discord server, where there are some amazing people like Jenny and Christian who are running this server, coming up with a lot of things in Spanish, news, about data, about many other different topics. So the South American community is a rich community that it's growing so much, and there are too many things going on right now. And again, feel free to reach out to any of us, and surely will be welcome to join us, to participate, to take part in events, to organize events. This is something that it's really necessary, and to truly impact life of people that you could never impact otherwise. So this is my call to you. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dev. The community in South America is obviously amazing, and if you would like to get in touch with any of those communities, please reach out to us. You can either reach out directly to Deborah on Twitter, or I'm sure maybe Deborah, you could share your email, or you can also email us on the mailing list, which I will add here. Okay, great. So next, we were supposed to actually have Dawn coming to share, but she can't make it fairly last minute. So I'll go ahead and share a bit about the PSF and what the board of directors is. Okay, so let me just do that. I have a slide that I'd like to quickly show as well. Great. So I think, okay, so I just will talk a little bit about the elections and what the PSF is and what the PSF does. So if you go to python.org, there is a tab there that talks about what the PSF does and just shares a bit about their mission. And basically, the PSF is the nonprofit organization behind the Python programming language. And like I mentioned before, some of its mission is to grow the community, make sure the community is as safe as possible, is as inclusive as possible, and diverse as possible as well. It also is to protect the Python language and make sure that Python as a language is strong and growing in different ways. And I was actually on the board of directors. Last year was my last year on the board, and I spent about 5 years on the board. And the board of directors is kind of like a group that helps to lead and guide the foundation itself. And so we have, I believe it's 11 seats on the board, and all of those seats are kind of occupied by people who have been voted onto the board by the community. And something that has been a problem for us in the past has been that the community votes, but at the moment, the membership of the Python community in terms of the PSF membership tends to be slightly skewed towards North America or Europe historically. And one of our missions as the diversity and inclusion work group is to kind of change some of that and make the board and the community as well, the membership of the PSF, more representative. And yeah, by slightly, I mean a lot as well. So it is skewed to North America and Europe. But we would love to have more people from around the world being participating members of the PSF. The reason for this is because it allows the board, the foundation as well, to make decisions, better decisions that represent the global community and that don't just represent, maybe North America, specific American perspectives even, or European perspectives only. And so we want to also be advocating for that as much as possible. In general, what the PSF Board of Directors does on a regular basis, I think they have several meetings a year. It just depends, probably like monthly meetings or every other month or something like that. The board gets together and they vote on different motions that concern the community, maybe whether that is approving grant requests from people in the community for events, or whether that is just, discussing different issues that are popping up from around the world with the community. And so, in 2020, this is kind of what it looked like when there was elections. This is an older version, and Joanna is actually going to come up now and talk a bit about the board elections. Teresa as well will be showing us some information, some statistics about updated statistics, I would say, about the PSF Board of Directors and how elections have looked historically and how that's reflected the membership. So I'm going to first start by inviting Joanna up, if that's okay.
All right. Thank you, Malene. And I'm very excited to be here. I'm Joanna Nanjeche. I am a Python core developer and director of the Python, one of the directors for the Python Software Foundation. We've talked about the PSF in so many formal terms. Deb talked about it. Malene talked a little bit about it. I'll give an informal view of how I view the PSF as. So I view the PSF in short. If you can forget any legal or formal definition or in the books, you can remember the PSF to be a steward of Python and the ecosystem. So the PSF as a body takes care or looks out to make sure that Python, the language, stays relevant, but also the community members, the members in the community are able to do different tasks and be active, of course, to make Python relevant. So the PSF, I can summarize its significance or its roles in like three main points. One, to a company, it's a point of contact for companies and organizations that want to support Python and different activities in the community. So if you're an organization, if you want to make a donation to support Python development, but also different activities in the community, the PSF is a point of contact that you can reach out to and make a donation, because the PSF manages different activities and the distribution of the funds that come in as donations. So it's a point of contact for companies. It holds the IP, the intellectual property of Python, the language itself, and associated things like logos and logos for Python, the language itself, but also other things like PyLadies and PyCon. PyCon is a trademark in itself. So it's an IP that the PSF also protects. But also the other thing is that it empowers people like us that are in the community through different things like supporting meetups, giving us grants, so that we are able to run different activities in our different communities where we live. And these are the main, I mean, there are many things that the PSF does, but I could summarize the work of the PSF in maybe those 3 areas. So anybody can be a PSF member. And so we have different tiers of being a PSF member. So the first tier for being a PSF member is you can be a PSF member by being a basic member, by basically signing up. You don't need to pay anything or even put in extra time, extra commitments to any activity in the community. So as a basic member, you're able to sign up and basically say, I want to be part of the Python community. The second membership tier is a supporting member. That means you make a donation to the Python Software Foundation. And so you can, we used to have a default of $99, I think. But recently, because of the move for the PSF to be relevant to different sectors or different areas in the world, we rolled out what we call the sliding scale membership scheme, where even people that cannot afford the default $99, you can be able to be a supporting member for as low as $25. Something I was very excited about. So if you're a student, if you are unemployed, or if you live in a country where it's low income, for example, in Uganda, $99 is too much commitment, like for anybody that doesn't have a job, at least. It's almost like 400,000 Uganda shillings, which is a lot of money. But we were using a sliding scale. Even if I was a student, I could ask my parent to pay for me $25 and be part of this awesome community, which is around 50,000 Uganda shillings or 70,000, which is like literally 2 dinars, right, at KFC. So that was a very great initiative from the PSF to expand its reach towards membership. So that's a supporting member. The other tier is you can be a member of the PSF by being a managing or contributing member, which means that you either spend about 5 hours of your time doing a Python related activity, either in the community or managing a project in the Python ecosystem. That is a managing or contributing member. You don't pay, but you contribute in terms of time for this aspect of managing or contributing. For all the 3 membership tiers I've talked about, we have a sign up button, a sign up somewhere that you can sign up for. And we will share the links if you want. Of course, not if you want, but the PSF website has all the links and we'll be able to share some of them. So the fourth tier of membership is the fellows. You can be a PSF member through the fellows program. Fellows are nominated because of their work in the community, being active representatives in their communities and doing great work in different aspects. It could be development through open source or organizing conferences or meetups in their local communities. And usually people in those communities nominate those outstanding people to be fellows, and there is usually a vote, and sometimes we have more nominated fellows that can be at a time, and then there's usually some sort of vote for qualified fellows at a time. And so, as a fellow, you don't need to pay. But you have to be nominated by somebody or by your communities per se. So therefore, ways literally of being involved with the PSF, and I would encourage everybody on the call and anybody, and you can also talk about these membership tiers in your communities. You don't have to have money. Sometimes you can be affiliated through some time, 5 hours literally, or do great work and get nominated, or nominate yourself as a fellow and take advantage of our sliding scale membership scheme, which is cheap. Literally 2 dinners, or save up 2 dinners a week, and you're able to be a member of the PSF. So one other area that you can be helpful to the PSF is being a board member. Board members like us, Marlene and Deborah, and several other board members that are not on the call today. As a board member, you are elected by the community, and you have some roles to serve or to serve on the PSF board in regards to the community. I summarize the responsibility of a board member as being a voice for or representing the views in the community, because that's why we are voted to be on the board. And you will have different roles that you'll be doing as a board member, but all of them point to one thing. At the end of the day, we are representing our communities to shape PSF in a way that the mission aligns to things that will later benefit the community and make Python relevant. That's what we do on the board. It's a volunteer role. Board members are not paid. The staff are paid, but board members are not paid. And the only thing is that you have to be voted by your community or trusted. So we usually share nomination statements, which are our commitments to what we feel that we want to contribute towards the future of Python and the ecosystem. And so, as a day-to-day, what does a PSF board member, how does the life of a PSF board member, what happens day-to-day as a PSF board member? So there are several meetings. I would estimate that you need about 5 hours a month, probably, to do most of the activities you have to do as a board member. You have to attend meetings, and carefully maybe assess certain decisions and vote on them, on very critical decisions that the PSF is taking. Some of the decisions can be making sure that the PSF fulfills its mission. Some of the things that you're going to make decisions about supporting the executive director, but also evaluating the executive director and sometimes evaluating staff as a board member. But mostly, I don't like to focus on evaluating. It looks like we are policing the PSF staff. No, I think it's more about working together with them and supporting them and us complementing each other with the PSF staff. It's not really policing or evaluating the PSF staff. And we help with strategic planning, protect the assets and assets of the PSF. It could be financial or anything like that. Sometimes we help with decisions that regard on how we distribute, or we are using funds that we get from our sponsors. We have to be good stewards, even of the sponsorship funds that come in from different companies like Google. So some of the things you'll be doing is to make decisions about certain aspects. Of course, the main goal being is that we we try to work in the best interest of the community, because that, of course, that's the biggest priority. So yeah, I think I've given an insight into what a PSF board member is, and what you do every day. I am happy to answer any questions if I've missed anything. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joe. That was really, really informative and helpful. Definitely, I added some links in the chat to most of the things that Joanna mentioned. So if you would like to find out more about membership and the new sliding scale, which we would love to have new members, please visit the link that I shared there. Also, if you'd like to become a PSF fellow, you can nominate yourself or nominate other people from within your community. We definitely need more representative fellows as well. So please go ahead and visit that link to find out more. And then finally as well, I put some information there about the PSF board. We'll have Teresa showing us some demographic information about that as well, and some of the things that we think we can do as a community to help with increasing representation with that. So now we're going to have Iqbal, who is from the Asian Python community, come and share some updates from the Python community in Asia.
Thank you, Malin. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, folks, wherever you are on this beautiful planet of ours. So my name is Iqbal, as Malin has introduced. I'm currently in Tokyo, and I'm actively involved with the various Python and PyCon communities around East Asia and Southeast Asia. So I only have 5 minutes to introduce to you folks that is on our chat today about the exciting stuff that we're doing in East and Southeast Asia. So it won't fit with the 5 minutes that I have if I go through every single thing, every single event and initiatives that we've been doing. But let me just go through the summary and pick up some which seems to be fun. Now, the whole point of me introducing to all of you on what we're doing here on this side of the planet is hopefully to give an idea if you are an organizer or thinking of organizing something, hopefully to give you an idea of what are the things that you can try for the community in your region, your country, or in your locality. Basically, to summarize why the purpose of all the events and initiatives that we've been doing here, there's four which I can give. Number one is to expand the community by opening up opportunities to learn Python. So these are especially for people which were originally outside of our Python community who didn't have any opportunity to actually learn and play around with the language. So number one is to expand the community by giving opportunities to these people to learn. The second reason is to increase the participation from different types of groups, and this encompasses many different types of groups. For example, the city folks and the people who live outside of the city, which is a big part, one of the big reasons why we do our activities here in Japan. Also from non-engineering background people to also get involved with people who has a background in engineering, different lab industries. So these are to increase the participation from different types of groups. There is 1 second. The third important reason why we do our initiatives is also to expand the pool of organizers. So believe it or not, we have a lot of first-time organizers who were interested in trying to set up something, and they turn out to be organizers which stayed on and continue to organize events, bigger, better events as they progress with experience. So expanding the community to include different types of group will also allow people to experience how to organize an event, whether it's meetups or local PyCon or even a regional PyCon. Finally, the most important reason, I guess, is to actually raise funds to carry out the programs and the events that allow us to do all the previous three. So these are the main 4 reasons why we do what we do, the events and the initiatives that we do within our community in East and Southeast Asia, which I think might not be so much different than any other place on our planet. So with that in mind, I would like to introduce, just to give some of the interesting events and initiatives that we have. So for example, in Japan, for JP, we have what we call a Python bootcamp, which is organized by the by the same organization which hosts the excuse me, our local PyCon JP every year. So what Python Bootcamp is that it will go to all these different cities which are outside of Tokyo and a big city like Osaka. So for example, Hokkaido, Sapporo, Fukuoka, Saga, Shimane, where they will go there, have like a boot camp where you learn basics of Python for 1 day, which is around, I guess, a 7-hour tutorial period, hands-on. So the people who actually teach them are people who are based in Tokyo. So usually they are part of the larger organizers which organize PyCon JP. So that's something which has shown to be effective in expanding the group of people which understands Python, and hopefully in the future will get involved as organizers themselves. The other thing which I've not seen other communities done, at least within our side of the world, is what we call a Python charity talk. So this was the initiative that earned the PyCon JP community members the Community Service Award. So the Python charity talks was a set of talks that we did for a few hours, and got some. We sold tickets for that, and the ticket proceeds were donated back to the PSF. So that's the 2 interesting initiatives we have in JP. In Taiwan, for example, we have what they call Young Inspirers. So they went out to look for young people. Young here means people, students of middle school and below, who are working on interesting things on PyCon with Python, and put a spotlight on them. So they were presented, they were given an opportunity to present their work during PyCon Taiwan, and also recently last year was in PyCon APAC actually. So that's what we had in Taiwan. Philippines, PyCon PH, one interesting program that I've gotten to know of, or I haven't had first-hand experience in actually experiencing that program, is what they call a PyCon PH Kaizen D training program, which is a training program to enhance the knowledge and skills of organizers. I think we have an attendee from PyCon PH, which might be able to explain better if anyone is more interested in knowing more. For Korea, other than their yearly PyCon KR, they are starting up a new program called Hello Pi for newcomers to the language. I think they want to start it this year. Now, we know that there's a hurdle for newcomers to come and actually play around and get involved in the community. So what Korean community is trying to do is to start a new program to allow newcomers who have no experience at all to actually get involved and meet people, make it a safe and welcoming space for newcomers. And finally, we have an interesting initiative by PyCon Malaysia My, which they call a PyCon My Camp. Instead of usual conference where you get and listen to talks, they actually had a small 2-day camp at a resort next to the ocean, pretty nice. And then in a hotel room, they get together and talked about their work. There was some presentation. So a much more smaller, more manageable mini conference. I will do it, which I've not seen any other parts in our region actually did that before, so that was interesting. So with the limited time that I have, these are what I can introduce to you folks on our call today. If you have any questions about this, you can follow us more to know more about Asia Pacific, East Asia, Southeast Asia community. You can follow us on Twitter, which is at PyCon APAC. And one final thing before I pass it back to Malin is that I'm going to put a link to our D&I D&I questionnaire, which I would like any of you which have not yet filled in, please fill in the questionnaire so we understand better what our community looks like and what they think about diversity and inclusion, also the PSF board. Thank you, Malin. I think that's all that I have time for.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Iqbal. Lots of some comments in the chat as well about the Python around your neck. I think we just need to have, everyone should do that. If we should just have like trademark Python things. Teresa has one too, which is great. Speaking of, Teresa is going to be speaking to us next. Teresa is part of, lives in Germany and helps organizing a PyLadies there. But Teresa is going to be sharing some demographic data for us to help us understand some of the challenges that we're facing in terms of like, the board representation and other issues, membership representation as well. And so I just will welcome Teresa onto the stage now.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thank you, Marlene. So I have some slides. I think before I start anything, I would like to address the elephant in the room, which is like, we don't really have a lot of data. So about demographics, at least. Is my screen shared? Can you share my screen, Georgie? Can anybody see my screen? Oh yeah, there you go. Okay, so I made some data visualization some time ago, and one of them is about, this is the data from the IntelliJ developer survey from 2021. So it's a Python developer survey done by JetBrains. And you see here already the problem is that only have about 56% of the survey participants give information about their demographics. So out of those 56%, this is basically a little bit where the Python developers are out there. But you have to understand, these are the Python developers that heard about the survey. If you look a little bit at our poll that we did here online during the event, you see already that for the, in general, people just don't find out that there are surveys out there or don't fill them in, or it's really hard to find this information sometimes and how to get people to participate in surveys. So yeah, so this is our developer survey. So who are the Python developers in the world in 2021? Mostly we have North America, South America, Europe, Asia, and there's a part of the world, so Africa and Australia, where very few people fill in the survey. I'm pretty sure there's way more developers out there than people filling in the survey here, right? So this is probably not, it's a very skewed view of the world. So yeah, so that's basically a little bit about the Python developers out there. And then I have a little bit about the board, the Python Software Foundation board timeline. I have here created this visualization. I got the data from the Python Software Foundation about since whenever the board started being on in 2001. I know we heard the story, it's not a story, we heard the fact that we still have a lot of representation from North America and Europe in the board, but you can see already this was indeed like a huge problem up to about 2014 when something happened. Probably there was a lot more talk about diversity in Python, and then you see there's more colors on the timeline starting somewhere there. And also you see, so we have like 32% of the members served only once. And if you look at the past 5 years, so somewhere starting in, oh gosh, math. Okay, somewhere in 2016, from the people serving in the past, so elected in the past 5 years, more than half of these people have been new. So it was the first time that they came on the board. So even though it might look like there's sometimes not a lot of diversity, but we do see that there's place for diversity. So space is being made, either people stop applying or people stop getting elected, but there's definitely every year, at least half of the people that get elected are new people. So yeah, so do apply. You heard great stories also from Deborah in the past talks about the work that has to be done in order to kind of be seen, in order to apply. I think a lot of the people, even in our group, they have applied a couple of times and they got rejected, apply again. And at some point, people get in. So now, who's voting? Right, so you heard Joanna talking a little bit before about different membership roles. So who are these people who are voting? So you have here the, oops, sorry. Everything is using my CPU or something. So yeah, so you have here this another visualization about, again, talking about data. I only had access to 3 years of data, so only 3 years of data is available at the moment, and it's going to be some undigging to see going past to the past 20 years to who voted. So on the PSF board, there's 3 types of memberships that can vote. So it's the contributing, managing member, the fellows, and the supporting. And this is basically of the people that get ballots sent out, who is actually voting in the past 3 years. So you see supporting roles are quite dormant a bit in the voting. So, but the fellows, the people that get nominated, and the contributing managing members do vote a little bit more. If you want to make a difference, of course, as with voting, get involved. We created this really nice, Georgia and I created this really nice visualization of the different tiers of voting, as you can see. So supporting, managing, contributing. For the managing and contributing, this is basically, I think, the one that I would like to talk most about. Is I think most of everybody who's in this call at the moment probably qualifies as a managing support or contributing member. And now you have to ask yourself, are you a managing contributing member? So 5 hours a month is basically 60 hours a year. If you have volunteered or donated 60 hours of your year to Python work, contributing to open source, organizing meetups, organizing conferences, organizing events, organizing anything that has to do with like the Python Software Foundation mission to, you know, have diversity in Python and like make education accessible to everybody, then you are eligible. So just, you know, just apply. It's self-certified. Nobody's going to check it. Nobody checks that you're not lying. So there is basically zero incentive anyway to lie. All you get is the power of voting at the moment. We are working a little bit on starting to collect some demographics also with this. That would be nice, but we don't actually at the moment have demographics of managing, contributing fellows or supporting members. Pretty sure this would change in the future. So yeah, so that's that is that. You can access this. I will put the links to the visualizations in the chat. And I have also another post with a lot of links about what does it mean to contribute, what are ways to, what does it mean to manage, all of this are very well explained in different blog posts on the PSF website. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. And all of the data that Teresa just shared is available at the link that Georgie shared in the chat. So feel free to take a look at it there. It's really helpful to know just the different demographic data and also how that has affected, like, obviously we're seeing that there's more diversity on the board and we'd love for it to be even more representative. For example, right now, I feel like it would be amazing to have representation from Asia on the board as well. So I think that would be, that's something that we can definitely improve based off of the data that we're seeing. And also if people have ideas about how we can better collect data, because even on that diagram, for example, it didn't show, like, it showed that there were like no Python developers in Zimbabwe, and I'm literally a Python developer from Zimbabwe. So we'd love to chat as well about how we can improve collection of data. One of the things that we have potentially thought about is like collecting demographic data for memberships, people who join as members, and keeping that up to date. Okay, so the next person on, I believe, is going to be Manny, who will be sharing some information about Africa, the African Python community. So Manny, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from over here in Ghana. My name is Manny Young, and I'm with the Python software community over here in Accra, Ghana. And also, I think I'm an organizer or co-organizer of PyCon Africa and also that of PyCon Ghana. I would like to certify I'm the incoming chair of PyCon Africa, and that would be, hopefully, we are looking forward to having one for that of 2024. So about the community over here in Africa, I would say we're the youngest when it comes to the Python community around the world. So from the very first PyCon we had, I think that would be in South Africa, I think way back. So one of the early PyCons we have in Africa way back in 2012 was in South Africa. And I would say the latest PyCon we had on the continent was just last year, December, and that was in Tanzania. So I would say the growth of Python in Africa, it's actually coming up, and we have a lot of countries right from Namibia, Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, and the list can go on. I think we have approximately 25 countries that are actually active when it comes to the Python ecosystem. And looking at the growth, some of these countries or some of the communities have different initiatives that they actually have to help promote the language over there. And thanks to the Python software community, the Python software foundation, who also support some of these initiatives to also assist these communities. So if you're looking at that from the eastern part of Africa, we have the Afro Django initiative that actually moved from different tertiary institutions promoting the programming language. Then also the southern part of Africa, I think we have the Namibia community where, they even have this initiative called Pi Scholars or NAM Scholars, where they train those in the high schools, introducing them to the Python programming language. And even when we come down over to our end over here in the western part of Africa, I would say we here in the community in Ghana, we have different initiatives that we use. So under our community, we try to have the diversity focus group, which is the international PyLadies that we all know. So we have PyLadies Ghana, then we have those focusing on the AI ML side as well, which is PyData Ghana. And we then have those on our pipeline projects, which is the Pi Scholars and the Pi Clubs. So Pi Clubs is actually just to see how we can promote Python in the tertiary institutions. And we've even started that actually currently over here in Ghana. And I would say when it comes to also PyCon, and just like I said, we had the very first PyCon Africa, that was in 2019, where we had a lot of Pythonistas around the continent and even around the world over here in Accra, Ghana, where we hosted a lot of the wonderful friends we always see online. We had the opportunity to meet them in person, those like Marlene, I think the past director of the PSF, Eva, we had Lorena and so many other people. I think we're supposed to have the next one But like we all know, 2020, we had the pandemic, and I think we had to switch that to go online. But like I said, you can follow our handles on social media. We were actually working on that of 2024, where we'll try to be using this year basically to see how we can unite the different communities on the continent and focus towards the major conference of the continent, which will be PyCon Africa 2024. So for my personal story in the community, I would say I had the opportunity to be one of those who I would say kicked off or restarted the Python software community over here in Ghana. And I think that was way back in 2016, 2017, where I think I had the opportunity to then communicate with Marlene. And from there, we started the community over here, and we are trying to see how we could promote and also have an impact in our society. We know Africa now is now, when it comes to the technology space, we actually have the young people, we have the people who have the zeal to come on board. And we are trying to see how we can also have Python on board that to see, for example, we can have Python, one of the main languages when it comes to the continents in Africa. So I think that would just be the little bit I'll be talking about. And we're also looking forward to also, if there's anyone out there on the continent that would like to join when it comes to the preparation or planning of the upcoming conference, you can just write us a mail or reach out to us via our social media platforms, and would love to have you. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm trying to keep my 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Manny. Yes, like Manny said, we have a very active community in Africa, and we will probably be having PyCon Africa. I saw there was actually a question about when PyCon Africa will be. Hopefully, we'll be having a PyCon Africa in 2024. Manny is the current chair of PyCon Africa, so he will definitely be letting out, we'll be definitely putting out, I'm still helping organize, so we'll definitely be putting out comms soon. So follow the Twitter handle if you'd like to know more information about that as well. Next, we are going to be sharing a bit about how you as a Python community member from any part of the world can get involved, not just with the PSF, but just generally with Python, the Python community in general. And so Georgie is going to be helping us to do that now.
Yep, I'm here. Okay, let me share my screen. Here we go. Can you see it? Yes, you can. Right. So basically, you can see that we have a lot of participation from different countries and different regions around the world. And some of you who are new, who has never participate in any of the community service, you'll say like, oh, I might be interested to participate, but how can I do that? So I've just pull out a couple of possible ways you can actually join. So interesting thing is that I use a little bit of a detail. I think it was in Real Python article that was written by Joanna that mentioned a little bit about skills and interests, and I will expand a little bit more and make use of these 2 points and to give you an idea how you can actually contribute. So basically, of course, when you talk about skills, it's a lot more than just knowing how to code, and apart from coding, even coding itself, you have like different languages. It might not be just solely Python. Even if you are, for example, one of the beginners learning Python, but you are actually a pretty good maybe JavaScript programmer, then you can also still help out in somewhere around the website and all this, since Python is actually an open source community. So other than that, you can also, if you're really good in writing, it's more than just documentation. Of course, on the CPython and the Python writing guide, you have the documentation that we have. But there are also things that like articles, blog posts around your community that you could actually make use of your skills to contribute to the community. And communication, also, if you are really good in like maybe talking to people or like really good in drawing crowds and creating like community events and all this, you can be part of it too. And teaching, so it's all about teaching. Is like if you're used to be a teacher, or maybe a mother who is like really good in teaching your kids, you have the skills, you can actually combine together and like just share what you can do, like as a mentor in like tutorials and like Pi Ladies and all this. And I think the next speaker we are bringing up, Chuck, she has pretty much quite a bit of like contribution actually to sharing and like mentoring in tutorials and workshops. Or how about speaking? If you are really good in speaking, you can also teach, because by sharing, by presenting, submitting to a CFP of any, it doesn't need to be PyCon US. It could be like any meetups. Start somewhere, and you can actually pick up to your courage, your confidence too, and at the same time can share your skill. It's a part of teaching skills, you know. Another one will be like design, because me myself, the reason, like for example, I'm not really a great Python developer, but I'm still learning, and I love to be in a community that I could be part of it. But I see that I'm actually pretty good in design, so it's something that I can work on. So I help out in a couple of events here and there. It could be online, it could be anywhere that could contribute to it. Or organizing, I see a lot of like a lot of people here online attending now who have already been organizers for a couple of Python and meetups around the world. And yeah, I mean, so what you can do is just check it out and to see what you can do and with your capabilities. And another way that maybe you might not know is that we also have PSF, the work groups. Currently, we have 9 active work groups here. So you have code of conduct, you have the grants, infrastructure, you have the Python job board, marketing, packaging, scientific, data, trademark, and us, diversity and inclusion work group. So if you are interested, do check out on the website. Maybe I'll try to pull out the link later on so that I can actually put it in a general chat. So what else do I have to talk about? Sorry, I'm actually also moderating the talk, so I have to like manage a few screens. So I think ultimately, it really depends on where you are. So if you are actually in certain regions, like if you're in the African region or in the Asian region, reach out to your communities, because I'm very sure they have something that they could need your help somewhere to contribute to the community. Because ultimately what you get is a lot more than just contributing to the volunteerism. You know, it's a lot more than just volunteerism, because you get to know people, you get to share. Sometimes we don't know until we try it ourselves. So if you are actually I sometimes have this kind of feelings too, like, oh, should I actually be part of it? And should I not be part of it? Because I am kind of like an introvert, but finally when I actually try it out, it's not that bad. It actually, I get to know more friends and slowly enlarge my knowledge too. So yeah, and another thing is that apart from that, the PSF actually reward the people that they recognize that has been contributing a lot in this community. And I think if you actually follow PSF in their Twitter account, you will be able to see that they have regular updates called the Community Service Award. So I'm going to pull out some of our friends here that are in the D&I work group, because I know that they are also part of the winners. I mean, like, if you look down on the list, of all the community service award winners, you will see that there are a lot of them around your region. And I couldn't stress it more than enough that you can actually participate and also submit your own proposal to propose someone that you say, oh, this person has been helping a lot around your region that we might not know, you know. And you are welcome to submit all year round. And I'm going to just bring up Teresa. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
And Deborah, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hang on. Here you go. Give me a minute. I'm just going to adjust the screen a little bit. Okay. So, as you know, I myself, it came in as a surprise when I received this community service award. And how about you, Teresa and Deborah? I'm interested to know that because I think it's something that we could actually share and let the others know how we actually receive this news.
I was very happy. It was like
Hey,
it was like kind of like
out.
hearing that you, I don't know, win the lottery or something, but like a lot of money, lottery winning. So I was just like super surprised, and I felt really like, yeah, really good. And then I got a plaque last year from the past PyCon, which was also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of couldn't really believe it. Like when I opened the email and the email was there and I was reading, and I was like, what? Like, is it real? Because I believe that when we are here doing our stuff, each one in our country, in our city, in our place, sometimes we kind of surpass that depending on the work that we do. But I don't think anyone like imagined that they would receive this recognition, right? So
Yeah.
I was really surprised and I felt extremely emotional. If I'm not mistaken, I think me and Georgie, we received the plaque right together at PyCon, and it's like we got the nomination, the award online, but then also being able to be there, like receiving the award, it's like we just are speechless.
Yeah, I think I didn't expect me to get an award because, to be honest, there are tons and tons of people that I know that deserve this award, like better, because I see so many people who are still not in the list. Hint, hint. So, and like when I received this email, I said like, wait, what? It was like, it's really overwhelming because I'm still pretty new in this community, and to be able to receive this award kind of like gives you a kind of recognition, and like you are not working in vain sometimes, and that your community actually kind of accept you as part of the whole ecosystem and the so-called like friends and family in the group. Yeah. So I think this is something that I couldn't stress enough to bring it up and to like, please, if you see anyone, it's not only like award, there's another one called the PSF fellow members that I believe Teresa and Joanna did cover a little bit. So you can also vote if you see that any one of your members around the community deserve that. So I think this year it was Carol Willing and Ned, which is like they deserve way more than like a long time ago. So please submit your proposal for anyone who deserves that. So next week, I'm going to leave it to Marlene. You're going to introduce the next.
Awesome. So next up we have Chuck, and Chuck will be the final person giving us an update. Chuck is based in Europe and is a very active part of the community there. So Chuck, if you would just come up and share a bit there.
Hello. Hi. Hi, I'm Chuck. So yeah, if you just tune in, so maybe I will just give you information about me. So I live in Europe. I have traveled a lot. Thanks for my job and all this opportunity that was like given to me in the past years. So I was very glad to be make so many good friends. Some of those are already here today. So yeah, in Europe. So of course, I would maybe briefly talk about what I've seen and what I have experienced, in the community here after the pandemic. So I'm so glad that a lot of conference is coming back. So I've been to some of those, and there are some changes. The changes that I've seen, the biggest is that a lot of conference now start having like this hybrid kind of way of doing the conference. So I think we learned so much during the pandemic, so why not just like apply it and then make our conference even better. So there will be folks who can't physically attend a conference because of a lot of different reasons. For example, visa is a big reasons that like some folks, they really want to join. For example, EuroPython in the last year is happening in Dublin. So a lot of folks who maybe working in some other like European countries, they may need an extra visa to enter. Then a hybrid approach have allowed those folks to, even if they are, there will be travel grants and like financial aid program, but the thing is like sometimes it's not the money that's the problem, it's the time to apply for the visa is the problem. So these kind of give folks a kind of an opportunity to join the conference in the best way possible at the comfort of their home. So also there are changes, like I said, EuroPython. I've been involved in helping out last year, so we know that we try to be more diverse and inclusive in a lot of different aspects. Either it is, we try to encourage and support like folks who are coming from, maybe before our approach is more like European focused, and this time we try to include folks around the globe to attend. Also, there are, on site, we have a lot of things to make sure that everybody feel welcome, feel included, and we even try, for folks who are using the female toilet, then they would notice that we have a toilet. We name them toilet without urinals. So we have some product for folks who need to use those kind of things. That is like small things, but it's kind of one step forward to make the conference more accessible, more friendly. And also we have learned a lot of different experience from various conference as well. So another good thing in Europe is that I know there's a lot of talking and planning of starting new communities in different countries. So because, you may think of like Europe, you would think of, maybe countries like, for example, UK, the country that I'm living in, or like Germany, which is a well-known country in Europe. But there are also like other European countries that they are starting to have a community, starting to have all these people who are interested in Python, are interested in data science, and they want to start a new community. So it's great. So like we have more communities in Europe, and I love that. So there are these like new things that's happening in Europe, and so I think the good thing is that we kind of like cross-pollinate, we kind of learn from each other, and so I just hope that in this year we'll have even like better conferences, like people also if you are like want to go to one of these conferences, apply for travel grant, financial support, all these things that we try to support people to go to come and join us. So that's probably what I want to say for now. So yeah.
Thanks, Chuck. I went to EuroPython this past year and it was amazing. It was so good, really well organized, and super friendly as well. Great. So now we were also supposed to get an update from the Middle East. with Reuven, but he had to drop from the call. I will say there's a PyCon Israel. There's also now a PyCon MEA, which is Middle East, that was in Dubai. I actually attended that conference as well, and it was really great. Very small, and they're still building up their community there, but I would say it's still growing and it's still quite good. So I will try to find a link to that conference as well in case you would like to apply for the CFP. It's probably going to happen towards the end of the year, but really great conference as well. So now we're just going to go ahead and we are going to do some question and answer. We're going to answer some of the questions people put in the question tab. More generally speaking, this has been more of an informative chat, I guess, but I think in the future we also want to make it a bit more interactive and have a lot more discussion and things like that with the community. So Saya is actually going to lead us with the question and answer and read out some of the questions that are there.
Great. So there's still time. You can still put up your questions and I'll try to catch up with them. I'll start with the order, sending order, the first one that it came. So the first question is from our anonymous user who asks, currently the grant option has been closed for PyCon US. How do I apply to attend the event since I will also need assistance?
Maybe Phyllis will be able to help out, or Deb will be able to help out this section.
Yeah, so take that one.
Yeah, sure. So we did just send out our first round of travel grants. So for PyCon 23, those are closed, but you can sign up for our PyCon newsletter, and you would go to the PyCon 23 website. I've put a link in the Q&A, and that allows you to sign up for free, and you would get newsletter updates, and that'll tell you when the travel grants dates will be for the 2024 conference.
Also, there's an option to attend this year's event online, and we're trying to make it a little bit more fun. We're going to be using Hublot, which now everyone here is familiar with. So hopefully there'll be a little bit more like chat in the back channel on this year's online experience at PyCon US.
Perfect.
Oh, and cats, maybe.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Moving on to our second question, also from our anonymous user who asked, when is PyCon Africa? So I think Marlene have mentioned that it's going to be in 2024. Unfortunately, not this year. So stay tuned on our Twitter page, that's PyCon Africa, and be updated with all the upcoming amazing events that's coming up. So our next question is from Christian, who says that, is it within the scope of this work group to provide a PSF-supported platform so all the communities can share news and events? I'm aware of the event calendar, the local platforms, but I think we really need a central place to learn from each other's experiences. Maybe a simple blog like PyFound?
Yeah, and I thought that was a great suggestion, Christian. I feel like that's something that is definitely within our scope. We would definitely be working with the PSF to figure out how we could do that. I know the PSF itself has a blog on PyFound, and we could start maybe collaborating more to share more about events happening around the world there through the PSF's blog. I would say that could be an option. We could also try and I think maybe create more visual sort of spaces where you can see different events around the world. That could also be kind of cool to do. But I think that's a great idea. If you have any more suggestions on that, maybe feel free to send us an email, or let's figure out a way to discuss that and develop that idea. But I think we can do that for sure.
Yeah. I think part of the reason why we bring this up, we start this chat, this friendly chat session that is going to happen like maybe 3 or 4 times a year, is also because of that, because we feel that we can actually bring everyone together and to share a part, because some people can read, but some people can listen and can watch and can get some spotlight on events and all this. And that's why we do have in our apart from what Marlene has and PSF has on the blog, we also have the spotlight that you can actually submit. Let me see if I can. I just created recently.
I posted a link.
Oh, you posted the link. Perfect. Yeah. So if you want to submit your, like, it can be a story, like motivational story, or like someone in your region that is like a hero, a Python hero that's like, wow, doing something crazy that helps people, or even an event, a meetup that is like, hey, this, for example, I remember I've attended in Python Philippines. They have this kind of like during the pandemic, they have regular updates and they communicate called the work from home call. And I think that's really interesting because it keeps people communicating among the community. And we could actually bring this up every time we're here together and to keep everyone communicated among ourselves. Okay, let me see. I found this. Maybe here you go. This is the form. It's going to be in the link also that Teresa has shared.
Great. Yeah, I think. Oh, sorry. Did anyone else have something to share on this?
No, go ahead. I was just moving on to the next question.
Oh, can I just yes again that we would love to cover more events on the blog. And I've been thinking about ways to be more organized about that. Right now, like a lot of the events that we talk to the most are the ones that come in through the grant program. So we would probably start there because we already have some relationships there. So that's probably not going to happen in the next like month or two, but I'm hoping for the second part of the year can be a little bit more organized about collating like other events that are happening around the world and making sure that we're regularly communicating about that. But if you have in the meantime, if you have something and you want to, like a guest blog post, again, you can reach out to me, deb@python.org. We have to make sure that it looks nice and gets formatted for Blogger, which is a little tricky. But we're always happy to boost the signal in Python events.
Awesome. Yes, but I definitely think it's a great idea. We will definitely continue working on that. And yes, don't forget to submit your ideas to Deb. We shared her email up there. And you could also email our work group as well if you want to share anything there. So, okay.
Perfect. I think that's a final question from Christian Cell says, Dustin started a document long time ago to improve the representation of the board elections, mainly how voting works, which usually doesn't favor underrepresented communities. Has there been any review of the voting process?
I don't know if does anyone else from our work group want to answer this? I will say that this has been a discussion point for our work group. I know it's been a discussion point for the board as well. Dustin is actually a member of the work group. And definitely over the pandemic, we kind of slowed down as well. But we are hoping to continue these discussions and improve. What you will see based off of Teresa's data is that we are seeing progress, and progress is being made because we are having these conversations. We want to continue to increase those conversations. Something that I will mention as well is that I think we need to be raising awareness of just our community members from around the world. We need to be encouraging people to vote because the margins that people lose by is so small. Like it'll be like 33 votes versus 32 votes or something. And so I think if we also just mobilize members of our community as well to participate, we can definitely also see some change happening there. But we've talked about that document, and we are trying to figure out which recommendation would be the best to make to the PSF as well as a group. Does anyone else have any thoughts on that from the group?
I'm just curious. Attendees here. Sorry.
But
yeah, I just wanted to add like that. I don't know if that's before Dustin started to write this document, but I remember when I ran for the board, because I ran 2 times. The first one, I didn't make the cut. As Marlene said, for like very few votes. But then there is still a discussion, and discussion.python.org, if I'm not mistaken, about seeing like a discussion about it. Like people talking about different ways that the PSF and the voting process could improve. And in the last 2 elections, if I'm not mistaken, in the emails that the people who have the right to vote receive, it stated there that we wanted to have people from different countries. So this is definitely a work in progress. And as Marlene said, it has to bring together the whole community. Otherwise, we are not going to see our local communities represented there.
Yeah, I'm just a little curious, like among all the attendees here, is everyone actually a member, a voting member? Because the thing is that sometimes it takes a lot for us to actually bring ourselves up to say, I want to be part of it, and to put our name up in the spotlight. But we also need support from the votes that comes from around the world. And right now, there has been a lot of discussion too about this issue, is that we do not have actually people who are representing from different other regions. The main reason is because they are not there yet. So that is something, that's part of the reason why we are actually working on here too. And I remember Iqbal has mentioned a little bit about that too recently. I mean, for past year actually.
Yes, I did. I've written a blog post, I think 2 blog posts on that for the past year when I ran for the board 3 times. In terms of how many votes were at least personally given to me, and also to the non-European and non-US based nominees, it has increased. I see there's some improvements in there, but it is still not enough in the context of the people who are participating in the elections itself. So I'm not going to go through the short analysis I made. It's on my blog post, but from the questionnaire that I put out, right? So we are still collecting data on that questionnaire. As the other panelists have already mentioned, a big, should I say, reason for that is the lack of awareness on the ability to participate, and I guess more importantly, on why should we participate. So those are the 2 items for us, the D&I group obviously, and the community at large needs to figure out and answer.
Oh,
yeah.
There is a poll that you can let us know whether or not you are a voting member. So far, 100% of us are voting members, which is good. And yeah, definitely encourage everyone to, again, look at that, the membership links that we shared. Become a member if you're not a member. The sliding, you can become a supporting member now, because the sliding, the slide allows you to choose your membership amount, which is great. But yeah, this is definitely an area that we are hoping to see more change in. We have been seeing some change over the years, and we'll definitely encourage people to do this. And this is one of the reasons why we actually wanted to create this space, is also to continue these discussions throughout the year. So it's not just like right before the elections, we're panicking and we're like, everyone vote now. but like we're continuing encouraging our communities to get involved and to be prepared for the elections. So so this is also a good reason to meet. I think that was our final question. And yeah, this is mainly what we had for today. Thank you everyone for joining. We will be trying to have these regularly. So hopefully we will have this quarterly. We'll probably won't have this one, and then potentially we will have a session, like an open space session at PyCon US, and then probably some, maybe 2 others to round off the year. If you do have any questions, please feel free to email us. Take a look at any of the resources that we shared. Thank you, Christian, for creating like a link there as well, with just a list of the various links that were shared as well. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. I think that's all we have for the call, and we will let you know the next time we are planning to have a call again. But have a great one.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Hope to see you folks in PyCon US in April.
Yes.